Alright, what is going on, guys? Today, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy Online, and specifically class selection, or job selection as it's called in this game. It's a little bit different than any other MMO. I know a lot of you guys are coming over as the Final Fantasy bubble is just bursting with popularity right now. So as you come over, I want to help you pick the right class so you have the best experience possible. And there's a ton of classes to sift through, so I'm going to try to navigate that confusion for you. So as always, we got our Red Bull for some energy, we got our phone for some notes. Let's get going. Alright guys, to start us off here, let me set this down real quick. To start us off, we're going to talk about classes exactly where you would start at the beginning of the game. When you first create a character, it's going to be pretty generic, exactly what you expect. You're going to pick your race, male or female. There's a bunch of options there. Then you're going to do an appearance. Great appearance options. I know people are really into that, myself included. It's a big part of this game. Take your time at that point, or that part of this game. If you were to pick something you don't like, oh, I don't really like this race, or I don't like the way I look, blah, 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 there is in-game, you can change it as far as, getting haircuts, hair color, and stuff like that. Totally free, no big deal, it's just part of the game, base game experience. If you really don't like your character, you want to play a different race or a different sex or something like that, totally optional as well. They have it in their MOG store, which is essentially their real money store. And I believe it's $10 to buy the little prismatic you need in order to change your character. It's not terrible. I think WoW charges 25. I could be wrong, but I thought WoW was 25. Anyways, the options are there if you want to change it later on. Once you get through all that, you're going to be met with picking your first class. There are 8 classes to choose from. 5 of them are going to be your physical damage, physical DPS classes. The other 3 are going to be magic. So I know people are like, what about healers and stuff like that? They all come later on. So you're going to pick your first class or whatever, maybe a conjurer, maybe an archer. They're all going to have basic names as far as like a gladiator, things like that. This is where this game gets a little more complex. Your base 8 of the 8 classes will not be your final class you play. As you progress through this game, your 8 classes are going to subdivide into 18 different classes to choose from. That's why it's a little bit different than any other game I've ever played. Those classes will unlock along the way depending how far you are in the game. A great example is I play an archer, well, I play a bard, I should say. It started off as an archer, and once you hit level 30, you get the quest to become a bard, or you can move forward into machinist, 2 subclasses that come from the archer class. A lot of different ones have the same thing. Your gladiator will become your paladin, who's going to be your sword and board tank in this game. Your warrior comes from your martyr. It's different things like that. Or there's also other classes, such as things like your dark knight. I know he's a popular class. A lot of people want to play him, especially people that watch Asmongold because he's got a big sword. That doesn't unlock till level 50 because you must beat the base game before it becomes an option. So basically, you get level 50, you're now in Heavenward Sword, and you can go pick up a quest that unlocks that class. Now, you might be concerned, well, I don't want to start back at 0, I just got to level 50. Don't worry, that's not how it works. If you get to level 50, you unlock that class, you will see in your character/jobs screen, that character is level 50 already, and that is where you start off with them, so they don't make you go back and repeat content you've already done. Alright, 2 more big things you guys should know about. We're going to try to wrap this up. I don't want to get too in-depth because we could do this for hours and hours. Is the one that most of you guys care about the most, it's going to be the meters, right? Like, at the end of the day, most of us want to look at meters. We want to raid if we're coming from a competitive MMO in the past, and that's a big deal to us. So, just to kind of like calm you down on that front, don't pick your class based on the meter in this game. Reason being is the game is incredibly well balanced. So, although, you want to do good on the meters, there's a good chance you're going to do good on the meters regardless of what class you pick. They all kind of intersect. They're all within, I think it's 10% of each other. I've been told that. I've never fact-checked it. But when I did raid, it did get proven that they're very close. So play the class you want to play, and that'll work out for you. I promise you, as long as you're min-maxing, if you're into that, you're going to do fine. The other big tip that I wanted to give you guys, because this is a unique thing to Final Fantasy it's just a unique thing, is you have your big 3, your healers, DPS, and tank roles, but they're a little different in this game in the sense of, yes, of course you're tanking or you're healing, and that is your main responsibility, but healers are expected to do DPS. In fact, on some ultimate fights, which are like your mythic modes, if you're from WoW, you're expected to do the DPS in order to kill the boss before the rage timer goes in. That is your secondary priority, second healing. And tanks do a lot of damage in this game. You will see them on the meters. I'll see if I can find one of my old meters somewhere in here and show you. Tanks have their own rotation that they're essentially another DPS in their own way. So just realize those things are important in this game as well, regardless of what class you play. Okay, I think that's where I'm going to wrap this video up. One last thing, just so you guys know, there are classes that give buffs, just like WoW, so if you're into that and you want to be more support role, there are certain things. Great example of my class, I play a Bard, not a Machinist, both start from Archer, Reason is Machinist isn't a bad class, but it's a little bit more selfish, and you know, like its DPS, its personal DPS will be a little bit higher than a Bard's, but the Bard, it's not a lot, right? And the Bard brings buffs where it plays songs. These songs will buff the raid, you know, increase damage, increase attack speed, whatever the situation may be. Important things, it makes you more valuable to the raid team, similar like a Shaman dropping Wind Fury or anything like that. Same concept, different game. So I think that's gonna be it for this. Guys, just real quick, I wanna say thank you. My last few videos have done pretty good. I've had a lot of feedback. I've been talking to a lot of people I never knew existed. So if you commented, I promise you I read it. I read all of them, in fact. But thank you guys. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. If you want me to do this more in depth, I can. This is just more broad, you know, something very generic. And I hope it gets you going in the right direction of picking the correct class for yourself. Thank you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye!